Once again, I'd like to thank the Governor and National Guard for the support we've received. Though we continue to make significant progress again yesterday in the restoring power to our customers, I know, especially when you just heard the description of upcoming weather, this continues to be challenging and a frustrating experience for everyone. As of this morning, we have restored approximately 585,000 customers in the 5 days, including approximately 129,000 in the last 24 hours. We currently, as the Governor mentioned, have approximately 306,000 customers still without power. We have over 5,000 employees and contractors working today, including 1,749 tree and line crews. That's made up of 1,119 line crews and 630 tree crews. And to put that in perspective, that's more than what we had during Tropical Storm Irene. We had additional 252 crews arrive yesterday, and we dispatched them, the significant numbers, dispatched these additional crews to the hardest hit communities. We expect at least 100 additional line crews to arrive to be able to go to work tomorrow and continue to reach out and bring in all resources that are available to be brought in and support this restoration. We continue to strive to achieve what we've set out as our 99% by Sunday night, and over the next 24 hours we expect to restore approximately 100,000 customers. We continue to work with both the municipalities and the state in clearing roads and addressing any critical needs out there in terms of restoration to critical customers. Once again, we understand the significant impact that this storm has brought upon our customers, and we continue to do everything possible to bring power back to our customers as quickly as possible. With that, I'll be happy to take questions.
So with that projection, then, close to 250,000 people will start the weekend still without power by that estimate. Because you said there was over 300,000 are still out now. You're hoping to do 100,000 today. So you still have at least 200,000 who will start Saturday.
That would bring us down to approximately 200,000 tomorrow morning.
Right.
With our current projection or expectation, restoring approximately 100,000 customers in the next 24 hours.
Right. The reason I think people are so skeptical about the Sunday night is because they see areas where there are feeder lines, where there are poles down in like 3 places in the same neighborhood, and they still haven't even been moved. They haven't even they haven't seen it. I'm sure someone has been there in most of those areas to assess it.
They have been assessed, and as I mentioned, there's significant crews moving into those hardest hit areas today, and we are putting the resources there and still focused on 100% of our communities having 99% of their power restored by Sunday night.
I spoke to one supervisor lineman who told me that they were working 15-hour days. Is that about right?
If you meals and things like that, that may be the case.
Right.
So I stopped and talked to a crew last night on my way home that had come in from Colorado yesterday and was working addressing both pole and wired down issues. So, the hours are there.
But then you have to get them somewhere where they can eat and rest and sleep, right?
And we have staging areas. We have facilities set up, logistic facilities to handle that as well.
Well, just to piggyback off Mark's question, crews working 15-hour days, we're the overnight crew, and we've been hard-pressed to find crews out there at night. Are there crews that are out? I know they work in shifts, but are there crews working at night and early in the morning? We were at the Simsbury headquarters this morning, and we didn't really see anyone reporting to work until about 6 a.m. Is there...
As we've talked even during Irene and here, we run more crews during the daytime. We go to a lesser number at night, so it's not split 50-50. And the crews that are coming in, as you mentioned, you saw crews coming in around 6, 7 o'clock this morning. They'll work up to a 16-hour shift, plus or minus, depending on where they're at. And then the crews that come in later in the day, they will also work that 16-hour shift. But we have far more crews working during daylight hours where it's more productive. We can get more work done. It's safer than we do at nighttime. But there is crews working around the clock 24 hours a day. It's just not the same crews.
Addressing that safety issue, we came from Vernon, where there are still complete roads that are blocked with huge trees, lines, and the safety issue comes into play. How do you get emergency vehicles down there? In fact, in West Hartford earlier this week, a woman was killed, and firefighters couldn't get to the hydrant quick enough because there were wires and trees on that. Where does that blame rest? On the town or with CL&P?
This isn't a time for blame. This is a focus, and what I said earlier, that we continue to focus to work with the municipalities to get all roads cleared. And that work continues today, along with also getting or power to critical
Well,
customers.
lives
So
are in jeopardy here with these roads.
we are working with the towns to get these roads cleared as quickly as possible. Next.
Jeff,
Is
assuming
there
that
a
all
clear
things
plan
are
for National
equal.
Guardsmen?
Hold on, let me take
Sure, go
this.
ahead.
Is there a clear plan for like the National Guardsmen and the contractors? Because we've been getting a lot of calls basically saying that they're sitting around and like basically twiddling their thumbs, not knowing what to do.
I'm not aware, with the National Guard, I know they're working closely. I talked to the general this morning, so as far as what took place last night, as far as the crews, the job packages are put together, and the crews should be dispatched to do work. So
Do you know where they're going this morning, to follow up on her question? Because
who's
we spoke with the National Guard too, and
Oh.
the crew in Simsbury didn't know where they were going yet.
No, they were going to be, they would be connected with our line crews because they're working hand in hand, as they did last night. So when the line crews are there, the work's dispatched, they'll work with, like I say, they did last night, work side by side with our crews, but it is focused out there with the National Guard to get these roads
You just don't have a
complete.
specific...
I don't have the
Okay,
specific
and then another
addresses.
question for you. Assuming all other things are equal, once you've taken care of the business districts and the schools and the priorities, is there a second line of priority for which streets? Assuming, again, all other things are equal and the streets have the same amount of damage, is there, a priority basis for which streets get fixed first, and do you have power?
I'll start with the last one first. No, I don't have power, nor do I have a generator.
And where
So,
do you live? I'm not going to give away your street address, but you don't have power.
I live in the Farmington Valley.
Okay.
So,
And you've been without power for 7 days, too?
no, I had a generator that failed, so, but it's no longer there, so,
So your street hasn't been fixed either?
no. I mean,
Just got more
I live
sympathy.
out in the Farmington Valley, as I shared. I've been around that area out there. There's extensive damage throughout the state. People need to keep it in perspective, the magnitude of damage, especially in that northern central where you still see a lot of the outages. That whole pocket has far more severe damage than a lot of parts of the state. That is where we're putting our resources. That is where we're focused today, to get crews in there and get restoration. You had another question, though, that...
Yeah. Is there a priority for different streets? If everything else is the same, the damage is the same, how do you determine which street goes first?
As I shared in Irene and have shared here, we also look, as we moved into the full restoration mode, it's moving out there to areas where we can restore the largest amount of customers the soonest. That is the priority. We continue to look at the make safe, the critical customers, but a lot of crews are out there now focused on which areas can they work where we can get the largest amount of customers restored in the quickest amount of time.
Jeff, can I go back to some numbers you mentioned earlier? I think you said we're up to 1,749 tree and line crews, and you said that has topped what we had at the peak in the Irene cleanup. What was the peak in the Irene cleanup?
I believe right now combined we're 100, 150 crews. I don't have it off the top, but I looked at the number briefly, and I know we have more crews here in Connecticut supporting this restoration than we had at the peak of Irene. So, and like I also said, we are continuing to look to bring in additional resources to accelerate restoration as quickly as we can to our customers. That's first and foremost.
Roughly 100 to 150 above that level.
At this point, I expect to go significantly above that.
The Attorney General says he's launching an investigation into CL&P's handling of the storm. Do you think that's necessary?
Right now, as I've shared at the press conference, our focus is on restoration. We'll address those issues when we're done and get to that point. So at that point, we'll be happy to address. I don't even know all the specifics. So our focus to our customers is restoration.
The crews that came in yesterday that are coming in today, is that a case where they were restoring someone else's customers over the last few days because that utility simply got to them sooner, lined them up sooner?
In some cases, it may that. I don't have the details on all of them. Other cases, I know they traveled several days to get here. So it's probably a combination of both of those. If you need additional information, work with our team. We can provide that. I don't have that personally.
Can you talk to the toll this has taken on you personally? How much sleep are you getting? What are you eating?
It's, like I've said many times, we're in business to serve our customers. And having, almost 80% of your customers out of power, it does take a toll. We're here to serve them. So to have that amount out, it's something I take personally. I don't want to talk about anything at this point other than focus on getting our customers restored to power. That's my job. That's my responsibility, and I own that.
Well, it might be helpful to the viewers and listeners if you had mentioned you were talking to a crew from Colorado. Do you have any kind of a list of where else they have come from and are coming from in terms of states?
I've heard that, I certainly know that we have crews from Canada again. Last time I checked, we had in excess of 15 states that we had crews come in, and we can certainly provide that information if you're looking at the details of where they've come from. I do know with contractors, you may hire from a state, but they may be a multi-state contractor, so you actually end up with crews coming from states well beyond where their headquarters might be. But we can provide that information if you're looking for that kind of detail.
Can you go through again the number of people to call if they're concerned they haven't seen a crew on their street? And I remember you mentioning in a previous press conference that they ought to call CL&P if they haven't seen anyone?
Well, there's what I've mentioned before, that the focus is if power around the neighbors have been restored and they're still out, they need to contact CL&P, because if the service is down or a transformer, those are things we need to address. And but if they can, customers can call our call center, get information on where their restoration is. So I'll take one more question.
West Hartford's mayor basically was told by CL&P that the Sunday midnight deadline is just way too optimistic. So he's actually telling residents, don't expect it to happen by midnight. What do you say to that?
I don't believe that came from somebody that's at our emergency operations center. Our focus, and we understand what crews we have, who's working the storms, how many resources will be moved into West Hartford, the harder hit areas that I described this morning. Our focus and our belief is we can restore, and are 100% focused on restoring our customers to 99% of our customers restored in every town by Sunday night. So that is our goal, and I believe we'll achieve that. So, thank you very much.
See you tonight, I guess.
And yes, I'll be back with the governor.